In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on April 17, 2022. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets. As we provide these videos on a daily basis, I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive betting picks to take your sports betting journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer anywhere from 2 betting picks a day up to 10 betting picks a day and much more. Now let's get started. Atlanta Hawks versus Miami Heat. It's a first-round matchup of the Eastern Conference playoffs on the hardwood as a pair of Southeast Division teams meet down in South Beach. The 8th-seeded Atlanta Hawks are on the road as they travel to face the top-seeded Miami Heat Sunday afternoon. Atlanta punched their ticket to the 8th seed as they beat Charlotte 132-103 Wednesday at home and Cleveland 107-101 on the road Friday in the play-in tournament. Miami closed the regular season with a 125-111 road loss to Orlando last Sunday in their most recent game. In the all-time regular season series, the Heat owns a 73-57 advantage and took 3 of 4 meetings this season, including a 113-109 home win in the most recent meeting April 8. These teams have had 2 previous playoff series with each team winning one, though the Hawks own a 7-5 advantage in head-to-head playoff wins. The Hawks won the most recent playoff series, which came in the first round in 2009, 4-3. Looking at the betting trends, the Hawks are 6-15 against the spread in their last 21 road games, 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 games as an underdog, and 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 games overall. The Heat are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games against a team with a winning record, and 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games overall. Head-to-head, the under is 23-8 in the last 31 meetings in Miami, and the Hawks are 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 meetings in Miami. The Hawks will likely be starting this series shorthanded once again, as John Collins, Lou Williams, and Clint Capela are all dealing with injuries, while the Heat should be just about at full strength, with PJ Tucker expecting to be ready for this one. The Heat are well rested. They haven't played in a week. Atlanta is also dealing with injury uncertainty to Clint Capela, who hyperextended his knee and had to leave the game in the second quarter against the Cavaliers. If Capela can't go, the Hawks will be at a serious size and rebounding disadvantage without him and John Collins, who hasn't played since mid-March. Trae Young went bananas in the second half against Cleveland, and it feels like it will take that sort of effort again to pull out a win. Young has excelled in the playoffs in his career in Game 1s on the road. He did it last year against the Knicks, Sixers, and Bucks, scoring 32, 35, and 48, respectively, while winning all 3. Miami's defense has limited Young to 25 points and 7 assists per game this season, while holding him to 31% shooting from deep. Last year, Young was able to establish momentum against weaker teams in the playoffs. That's not the case this year, facing the top-seeded Heat. The Hawks' defense is also facing a much more confident offense in Miami with Jimmy Butler than that of the Cavaliers. The Heat are one of the more well-rounded teams in the Eastern Conference, and they've quietly dominated teams to earn the number 1 seed this year. Trae Young is a force, but he's only one man. With Clint Capela likely sidelined for some time, he's going to have to carry even more of the load offensively, even if Trae Young is lighting up the scoreboard and knocking down 3-pointers. The Heat are the number 1 team from deep. They'll be able to keep pace. Atlanta will miss Capela down low as well, where he'd be guarding Bam Adebayo in this series. There's potential rust with the Miami Heat after not playing for a week, but there's also potential fatigue with the Hawks after playing twice and fresh off a big comeback against the Cavaliers. The Hawks haven't been good on the road this season, where they struggle defensively and lose by an average of 2 points. The Hawks are also 14-27 against the spread on the road. The Heat's defense is likely going to be the difference here. Unfortunately for Atlanta fans, I don't see this series going very deep. Ultimately, there are too many quality players on Miami for Atlanta to hang around in this series, so the Miami Heat to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Atlanta has seen the over hit in 45 of their 84 games entering this contest. The Hawks are 20th in tempo with 97.7 possessions a night this season. Miami comes into this game having seen the over hit in 53 of their 82 games on the season entering this one, which was tied for the 3rd highest over percentage with Golden State in the league, behind only Phoenix and Memphis entering Saturday. The Heat are 28th in the league in tempo this season as they average 95.9 possessions per game. In the last 10 meetings, the team split 10 games in relation to the total, including their 4 games this season. Miami's defense is better than the Cleveland defense the Hawks just faced. The Heat have allowed one opponent, the Charlotte Hornets, to score more than 110 points in their final 8 regular season games, excluding the finale in which they rested several starters. The Hawks' high-powered offense was limited to 107 points versus the Cavaliers, and the Hawks are a lower-scoring team on the road this year, averaging about 4 points less per game away from Atlanta. There's a lot going against the Hawks in this spot, especially considering they will likely be without the inside presence of Clint Capela, who injured his knee during the Cavaliers game. Even with a huge game from Trae Young, the Hawks likely won't get enough additional scoring from their other starters to push this total. Miami is just 22-18-1 to the over at home this season. Defense will set the tone for the Heat. Look for this one to wind up falling short of the total as fatigue with the Hawks and Miami's defense control the tempo here. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Brooklyn Nets versus Boston Celtics. Kyrie Irving clashes with his former teammates when the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics battle it out in Game 1 of the opening round of the NBA playoffs. An argument could be made that the Celtics have been the best team in basketball in the latter half of the season. They'll have an opportunity to prove it with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going toe-to-toe with Irving and Kevin Durant. The Celtics have covered in their last 4 straight games heading into this matchup, while the Nets failed to cover as 9.5-point favorites in their play-in game with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Looking at the betting trends, the Nets are 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 Sunday games, 9-3-1 against the spread in their last 13 road games, and 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games overall. The Celtics are 20-8-1 against the spread in their last 29 games against a team with a winning record, and 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games overall. Head-to-head, the over is 4-0 in the last 4 meetings overall, and the Nets are 13-6 against the spread in the last 19 meetings overall. The Nets have rightfully earned a spot in the first round of the playoffs and should be coming into this game with plenty of confidence following their win over the Cavaliers. The recipe for Brooklyn is simple. Give Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant the ball and let them use their elite scoring ability to outscore opponents. In fact, Irving and Durant are the only 2 players on the team to average more than 20 points per game, with the next closest contributor being Seth Curry at 15 ppg. This simple game plan is effective given how talented these 2 players are, but it's uncertain how sustainable it can be in a playoff series against a quality team. Boston similarly gets attention for its offensive playmakers in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but it's been the defense that has paved the way for this team. The Celtics rank first in defensive rating and give up the fewest points per game in the entire league, so their stingy defense should cause problems for a Nets team that is heavily reliant on their offense. Additionally, the Celtics rank in the top half of the league in points per game, field goal percentage, and offensive rating, so their offense has been just as dangerous and makes them one of the most well-rounded teams in the league. The Nets are still waiting for the debut of Ben Simmons, who is hopeful to play in Game 4. But for now, they're going with the dynamic duo of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which should pose plenty of problems for the Celtics, who have been leaning heavily on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to shoulder the scoring load. These 2 teams met 4 times in the regular season, and it was the Celtics who have won the last 3 meetings. For starters, you have a rematch of last year, when the Nets took out the Celtics in 5 and Irving stomped on the logo and a fan threw a water bottle at him. But this is a different Celtics team, one that no longer sees itself as inferior. They know they are better than the Nets, and Tatum sees himself as the best player on the floor. This series not only features great players and great teams, but a bitter rivalry stemming from Irving's departure from Boston. Fans are still upset with him, but honestly, I don't think Tatum and Brown would have flourished like they have if Irving was still there with his thumb over their development. The Garden will be rocking. The Celtics want revenge. They have the confidence, and they will get that done. So the Boston Celtics to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Nets could score buckets in their sleep, but they'll be facing a Herculean task in going on the road and turning this game into a firefight in Boston. Even with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the floor together, it's going to be a fight for the Nets to find offensive success against a Celtics team putting opponents on ice this season. Opposing teams visiting the TD Garden are averaging only 43.9% shooting. The best path to victory for this Boston team is turning Sunday's game into a defensive slog. Durant and Irving will get their buckets, but their supporting cast will shrink at the challenge. The Celtics present one of the toughest defenses in the league, ranking first in both defensive rating and opponent points per game. Their toughness on the defensive end should cause problems for the Nets. The Celtics shouldn't have to worry too much about Brooklyn's depth, as they can only go as far as Irving and Durant will take them. So as long as they slow these two players down, they should give themselves a great chance to win this game and limit the Nets' scoring output. While the Celtics figure to have success offensively against a poor Nets defense, nerves are often a huge part of the first game of the playoffs. So both teams may get off to a slow start and take some time to settle into the game. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.